Hello, hello. Today we are going to be talking about the art of the follow-up. And the reason why this is so important is so many entrepreneurs that I see are not doing this follow-up. And it's the quintessential area where we play small, where we do this thing where we think we don't want to bother people, we don't want to seem like we're being too salesy. And yet, one of the things I'm constantly telling my clients is you're actually doing people a favor. I know for me, I get tons of emails, I get tons of people that are, reaching out to me all the time, and sometimes I might see something, but I don't have a chance to get back to it. And I'm sure you've had the same thing where you see something and you love it. I might even actually see something and if I'm with someone, my bad that I actually read the message there when I couldn't respond, but I do. And then I might even be with someone and I'm like, oh my God, this person, it's so great. And I'm so excited. If it's even this wonderful positive message, I might be like, this is so awesome. And then I forget to actually reply to the person that I'm talking to or that had reached out to me originally. So, and then always we think we're going to be able to get back to it, but we don't. And so it's really super important, hi Viv, that we recognize the importance of the follow-up and the importance of making sure that we're taking that time to follow up with people, because ultimately people get busy. All of a sudden it moves down in their inbox, whether that be messenger inbox or email inbox, and people just need to get followed up with. So you're doing them a favor. So that's the first and foremost thing that I want you to remember when it comes to following up with people, is you're doing them a favor. And genuinely, this is kind of right up there with any sales. There's kind of a classic adage around sales, which is that it takes people sometimes 7 times to see something, right? So this is a super old stat that people have said it takes people 7 times to see something. So if you even think about that through the lens of following up with someone, if they've had this idea once and then you're able to actually continue following up, hi Jordan, and you're able to just really genuinely follow up with them, make sure that they're coming around to it. I know also for me personally, if I even reverse engineer my own patterns, it takes me a while to make decisions. And so sometimes I'm just not even in the place. I might have gotten the ball rolling, I might know that I need to take care of it, but sometimes it takes a while to make decisions. So while you're on the other side of your business wanting people to hurry and make decisions right away, sometimes people need some time to make those decisions. And so this can be a really helpful question, is you can ask them, first of all, what is their timeline? When are they feeling like they're going to be ready? And you can even argue with that too. If you're in a position where you are a consultant or you're doing some kind of service-based business where you know that your service is going to be of value, you're hearing that they're where they are now and that they want to get here, and you know that you can help them get there, you can actually, as the consultant, really make sure that you're letting them know, listen, I hear where you're wanting to go, and because often what happens as well is that people think that they need to do all these other things to get ready, and often that's not true. So I know sometimes when I'm talking to people that are really wanting to change the way things are happening in their business, I'm now is the time. Us getting started now means you're going to be able to start making progress and start getting where you want to go. And so just recognizing that how people have in their own brain, and you can even reverse engineer this for yourself and how you operate in your life, in your business, is how they have in their brain of when they're going to be ready. Mind you, the one piece that I will say that I don't, the one thing that I do say is if somebody is about to go on a major vacation, I even sometimes will say, all right, let's book this in so that you're locked and loaded, and ready when you come back, right? So do it now so that the whole time you're cool, when I come back, it's all set. So don't even, sometimes that's not even an excuse, but really recognizing this following up is so, so, so crucial. So whether that is via email, whether it's with a phone call, whether it's on a messenger, hey, did you get this? I just want to bring this back to the top of your inbox. If you have any questions, let's hop on the phone, whatever that may be. But reminding them. So people have, like, we are inundated with information right now. And so for you to really, this is your job basically as a business owner, is keep yourself top of mind. This is marketing, this is, follow-up, this is where I'm a huge fan of education marketing, so that's really, really valuable as well. And something that I think is really powerful, and an example that I got from somebody that I was working with in this last 6 months, was how she even was doing, I felt like she was still selling me, which is really just speaking to my needs so spot on, after the sale was made. And that felt so good as well. So this is actually a practice that you can make across the board. All of the amazing customer service, or the way that you might serve someone as soon as they pay you, really continuing that care, but doing it before. So you're giving them a taste really of how on it you are. And here's the thing that I've also known is that in all of my years, the reason why people work with me is because I don't go MIA. And so they've constantly worked with me because I am somebody that's I'm present, I'm right here. They know that they can count on me. They know that that's, something that they are going to get that feeling the whole way through, of that presence and that ability to really make sure that I'm going to be there for them when they need me. So really, really practicing the art of the follow-up. The art of the follow-up is so key. And you can also implement some systems for yourself in order to do this. So I do this a lot with clients, and it's certainly, if you have a ton of stuff going on all the time, you need to make sure you have some kind of system in place for yourself for follow-ups. So a really, really simple one that I've given to many clients is Trello. And this can look as easy. Trello as these Kanban boards. And so essentially you have boards, and it's cool because you can kind of visually see it, which is great for creatives. You can visually see it along kind of a timeline. So you can have on the left, here's people that I've talked to. All you have to do is even just drop a name, because most of the rest of the stuff for right now is going to be in your head. You may want to put where you talked to them, or what they were interested in specifically. You may want to add some details, which you can, to each of those cards, but you've got a name. And then you can have across your board, in this Kanban board style board on Trello, is you can say, okay, contacts, or met, initial meeting, and then the next one can be followed up the first time, or first conversation. And you want to take that along a path, follow it up the first, the second time, and you can make some notes about that. And then even you can have the entire sales process in there. So you can have it be that you had a sales conversation number one, you had then a follow-up call, they said this. You could have then a way that you are reminding yourself on a certain date that they need to be followed up by, right? So all those things you can do in Trello. You can geek around that. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, but it's a really, really helpful way to visually track your leads. Another geeky system, if you're interested in geeky systems, that we were using for a while with me and my assistant, is Streak. And Streak integrates right into Gmail, and it makes it like a CRM, which is a contact or customer relationship management tool. And so Streak is another geeky thing that you can do, which means you can kind of mark these emails in a certain folder, in a certain process. And so you can set those up as well, like potential client, or follow up with this person, or interested in e-courses, or interested in one-on-one, or whatever that looks like for you and your business. The other piece I was going to say there is just that with Streak in particular, it's largely based on email. So that would be where all your emails are the leads, and that's the only place that you have leads. And the one reason why we stopped using that is that not everything is in email. There might be a workaround. If anyone here uses Streak, let me know. But basically we stopped using that because all of my leads kind of come a little bit of everywhere. Sometimes they're Instagram, sometimes it's WhatsApp, sometimes it's Facebook Messenger. And so we needed a way to have those be in a separate place. Also, if you're doing any kind of major promotion, something that we did recently for, like, I had this major promotion that went out and I needed to track all of these people and making sure that they got the certain pieces that were a part of this promotion. And that was like kind of its own tracking in and of itself, because it was kind of a different thing that I'd ever offered. And so I really wanted to make sure that they were going to get taken care of. And so in that case, right now I'm actually using Dropbox paper for all my SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, which is everything that I do with all of my team members. And so we created a paper doc, and in that paper it had all the names of the people that had taken advantage of this offer, which there was like 15 to 20, and then underneath there I made sure that it was like, okay, yes, they booked in and paid, they filled out the questionnaire, they then get a feedback form. I make sure that they filled out the feedback form, otherwise we have to follow up on that. It's another really big one that you guys often don't follow up on, that make your notes now, is follow up on testimonials, follow up on feedback. And so that's a big one that I want to make sure that those boxes are checked on all of those, because that's super important. And that's a really big one that people need, like sometimes need a lot of nudging for, because it can feel overwhelming. They have a whole questionnaire to fill out or whatever it might be that they're like, oh, I'll do that when I have time. Here's a really, really key element to remember on this piece, which is people will respond to the energy that you put in to the offer, to the relationship. So if, for example, here's a really great example of where I use this, and here's another example where you need follow-up, is invoices. So invoices, if you send an invoice and it's due on the 1st, but the 1st goes by and they don't hear from you, then guess what? They get to energetically think that you don't care about that deadline, that actually that's no big deal. But if you have the deadline as the 1st, and when that 1st happens and it comes to be the 1st and you haven't received payment, and they get an email that says, hey, just a reminder, your payment is due today because today is the 1st. That means that your integrity and your attention to that deadline, that brings the energy to it. And you can even do it in advance. You can say, hey, this payment's coming up on June 1st and I just want to make sure you know, which usually your invoicing system reminds them, but really making sure that you have the energy of that. And I remember working with somebody that was so diligent about that, was so serious about it, and it really it almost triggered me at first, because I was just like, God, okay, I'll pay it, I'll figure it out, because it was like I had just changed credit cards and I needed to change the credit card that it was or something like that, and you're so used to having that lax, but this was a provider that was just like, no, I said this date and I meant it, and this is about integrity and this is about how you're showing up. And I think that that's really, really powerful. And for all of you guys to really hold that same integrity with the dates that you set, with the reminders you set, because that is then the integrity that you're expecting, the respect that you're expecting from the other people. So same thing goes with email and with follow-up is, for example, you might send something out on a Monday. Don't wait a week, don't wait 2 weeks. On Wednesday, be like, hey, you were probably inundated on Monday, but now it's Wednesday and I just wanted to follow up with you about this email. So really don't hesitate to have that, put that energy into it, put that energy of integrity, put the energy of, this is important, I'm not gonna let this slide down to the bottom, and this is really crucial. If you are someone who is not actually really finding yourself stoked on email, or you can't get around to it, or you're not doing it, then this is an area where you want to maybe find some support with this. And this could be an assistant. So with one thing I do with my assistant is literally I have her and I look at my inbox together, because sometimes I don't want to be in my inbox and I don't want to be taking care of it. I've really gotten good at prioritizing my time and energy on these other really valuable tasks, like I'm writing a book and I'm creating this different shape of my focus these days. So I have my assistant on our calls, okay, let's look through the inbox, and half the time I'm like, oh yeah, archive that, or oh yeah, can you pay that, or yeah, reply to that person and let them know this, and this is, and so then she can kind of be in it with me and helping me respond to it. So this might be an area that's supportive for you if you're looking to hire an assistant, and really making sure that you're doing this follow-up. I have an offer that I have been really, so my way of working these days, I'm kind of doing a lot of different experimenting and really seeing what wants to come through. And one of the big things that I've been really feeling jazzed about and wanting to come through, because I hear it all the time and I see it all the time, are that people are needing support around figuring out what is the low-hanging fruit in their business. And this was right here, the biggest one is that usually the follow-up, whoever are your warmest leads, it's crazy that this is the place that we don't follow up. We actually don't, you know, here this is where you're going to be able to make the most money. It's where you're going to have the most impact. It's the closest to you, but we don't do it. And actually, I'll just give you a little glimmer into the why underneath that, which is that it is totally fear of rejection. It's a couple things, but one of the pieces is fear of rejection. And then there's a big one in here, which is actually, interestingly enough, fear of success. So there's fear of rejection or fear of failure, and then there's fear of success. So interestingly enough, I've found so many times this really fascinating thing where if somebody has like all these potential clients and you've got this like big potential, they are not going full steam ahead. Sometimes people paralyze in fear out of the like promise or potential of having success. And it's fascinating to me because, and I get it because ultimately what that's usually stemming from is that there's old scars, there's old, you've either been burnt out before or you felt like you haven't been enough for the people that you're serving, or you just are simply right now like kind of coasting and you're feeling like, you know, we talked about this in a recent video, are you coasting in your business? So if you missed that one, go back and watch it, that essentially you might just feel comfortable. And so you don't really have to go that extra mile. You don't really need another client. So it's okay. You just kind of are coasting. So, and usually that's the difference between sustaining and just sustaining and thriving. And there also are really big red flags in there that if you are doing business in a way that's not sustainable, then something usually needs to shift. So you either need to bring on some more people so that you can bring it on. You either need to reset the expectations with your current clientele and the way that you're working, or you need to have some better systems in place that help free up your time and energy so that maybe you're doing shit work that you don't actually want to do. And then no kidding, it's not going to be fun to take on new clients if you know that there's a piece of it that you don't want to do. So again, that can help where if you hire on some different people, but at minimum, resetting those expectations with yourself and with your clients of how you're showing up if it's not sustainable in the way you're working, or it's just not fun and you're finding that bringing new work through the door feels really overwhelming. And this is actually the real piece here where people get stuck from either being one-on-one or even one with like one other person and actually growing a team. It's that chicken and the egg between, okay, we can take on more work and then we're going to hire more people, and having all of those challenges at once, both with hiring and serving other people and kind of, you know, essentially sustainably going up and to the right or whatever it is on this video. So yes, following up is absolutely crucial. And if you do have a system, another really beautiful thing to remember is if you do have some kind of a system that, say, for example, like I use Satori for my booking system. If you have some kind of system that you have for your booking system, what a really, really handy thing you can do is that if everyone is, you know, so this is my system. For anyone who wants to work with me, I send them through this system. Even if they're a friend, I work with tons of friends all the time. I know that I want them to go through my system because it's efficient. This is why I've set it up. I've set it up so that there is a questionnaire process so that they can book in on my calendar. So what's awesome is that when I'm ready to like go and review everyone that I've talked to as a potential client in the last couple years, I can actually go and just search my inbox for like complimentary consult, or I can go into that software and look at them listed there. And so that's really, really helpful next time I have an offer, or, you know, if I haven't been organizing this, which actually we do a pretty good job of. But if you haven't been organizing it and you do have something like that, or if another really handy thing is if you don't even have a booking system, you can have a consistent vernacular that you're using in your calendar. So for example, it might be complimentary call or client call or discovery call or clarity call or whatever that might be. And then now you can go back in your calendar and search all of those calls, or you can even have a separate calendar for them all together. And I have that for mine. I have a business calendar, so every single thing that's on the business calendar had something to do with business, and that might even help you remind you of different business events that you went to and then people that you can follow up from those events. Like, contact management is like a beast. Actually, I'll give you one other tip and then we'll complete here, and hopefully my Wi-Fi has been keeping up because Bali. But the one other tip I have for you, if you're really needing like super advanced contact management, the one tool that I have seen that is the best. I'm not using it anymore. I ended up like sinking hundreds and hundreds of dollars into this tool, and then I just never kept up with it, so I let it go. But I'm telling you, like, if I was more avidly doing sales, or even like I ran into somebody recently here in Bali who has like been searching for a solution, and I recommended this to him because he is just specifically, he constantly is attracting these like really high level contacts, and he wants a way to manage those. So if that's you, if you really want a way to manage all your contacts, all the people that you come into in your life, and you want to be able to have like different buckets for them, say, right? So you want to be able to have like, here's my VC peeps, and here's my conscious community, and here's the people that I know that might be interested in events, or here's people I could do speaking events for, or whatever your buckets might be, right? That you want to make sure you're creating a relationship with. Best tool out there that I have seen is Contactually, and I'll put a link down below for that one too. I have a lot of these fun systems that are on my systems page, so I'll drop a link to that so that you can see them all. And most importantly, I would just encourage you to follow up. Following up is your lowest hanging fruit. You knowing that like there's cold contacts and you can be in this whole rhythm of going out and finding new people, but your warmest leads are the people that have already talked to you, or that already know you, or already have said that they're interested, which is also your mailing list, by the way. So these are people that have already said, yes, alert me of what you have going on because I like you and I want to hear from you. So send an email out to your list, right? These are all super important things. Even the people who have liked your Facebook page or have followed you on Instagram, they have all essentially said, I like you and I want to hear about your things. So making sure that you're providing offers to them in some way, shape, or form. This could even be that you're doing some high touch. My friend John always says that big money is always in person. So there's something to be said as well for if you are someone who closes in big money and you actually are doing really big deals, to not be afraid of saying, hey, I'm going to be in town, I'd love to swing by and say hi, you know, or whatever that is in terms of who your clientele is and who you're wanting to work with, because this is who we buy from. We buy from people who we can count on, who we can trust, who we know, who are top of mind, who we like, and the trust piece is who we feel safe with, and the safety piece is your making sure that you're following up, making sure that you're being present, and making sure that they know that you've got them. And especially when it comes to a consultant point of view and a service provider thing, they want to feel held in that container, especially if it's a situation where they're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this and I really need your support. You can come in with that energy of like, I got you. And so and there's a really big piece here even before they become a client, which is believing in them more than they even may believe in themselves. And so that's a really big one, is that by you continually showing up, and like they may be having doubts, they may be having fears, they may be having all these things, but you can say, listen, I see what's possible. I know how to do this. I see where you are and I see where you want to go, and I know that I can help you. And so for them to feel your confidence in that vision, I have people all the time that are like, can I make money with this business? And I'm like, yes, absolutely, of course. If you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to step in. And that's where people get tripped up. They don't know what to do or how to do it or when to do it or, you know, whatever. And that's exactly why they're coming to work with me. That's exactly what we're going to work on. So that's where you need to take that big leap and that first step. Okay, hope this has been helpful. It's so great to see you. Hope you guys are having a great day or evening wherever you are. And if you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. Also, join the Facebook group. Next week, I'm going to be doing a really juicy, maybe even sooner because it's like coming through and really wants to be spoken. So join this Badass Activators and Conscious Creators group that I'm going to start doing a lot more lives in. And I'll put a link in the comments below. And as always, like this, share this, give me some hearts and some love if you enjoyed this, and thanks as always for being here. Lots of love. Mwah.